This is a story that hits home for me. I wish I could say the title of this video is clickbait, but it's not. It's real. And a massive failure on the legal system's part. The legal system isn't perfect, but this can only be seen as a massive failure. There was this kid who spent 6 years in jail for making an edgy joke on RuneScape. Josh Pillault, or however you pronounce his last name, was arrested last October for threatening to kill people and destroy buildings. And at the time of his arrest, he was 19 years old and an avid video game player. So he's about the same age I am, in that time period. The threats were made while he was playing RuneScape, an online multiplayer fantasy game. Another player began antagonizing him and eventually told him to kill himself. Irritated, Pillault, Josh, said he would kill not just himself, but also take out the local high school. He also mentioned Columbine, the name of an infamous school shooting, according to reports. Alright, so basically this kid walks up to him on RuneScape, being the fucking edgelord he is, and Josh is actually kind of cool about it. I think he was just trying to banter with the troll. So he tries to one-up the edgelord and says, alright, I will, but I'm taking out the whole school with me. Obviously a joke about Columbine, you know, because that was a big meme way back then. It's just dark humor, obviously a joke. If you've been on the internet long enough, you see this all over the place. And the kid has a field day with this. And he reports him to the federal authorities. Like, can you imagine that? If this is the future, I can see just about every person leaving a comment on YouTube behind bars. Have you seen the comment sections? Obviously, you can't blame the police for taking it seriously. I mean, you never know if it's a joke. But this is where it gets apeshit crazy. The feds found no weapons in his house. They made Josh go under psychiatric evaluation, and the psychiatrist deemed him as a mentally stable person who isn't going to hurt himself or others. That's legitimately 100% concrete proof this was an empty threat. Not even a threat, but just a joke. Exactly, his doctors have said he wouldn't hurt himself or anyone else. And his teachers were even willing to testify that they knew it wasn't a true threat. I have no idea why they decided to press charges. This article is also a bit outdated. It was made in, 2013. At the time of this article, he was about 20. He got out of jail about 6 years later, and even did an interview with a YouTuber. And you literally have to respect this guy. During this interview, he seemed pretty positive and hopeful for the future.
I was going to make another main account eventually anyways, but I'm the one who messed up, not RuneScape. I don't have any anger at the kid who reported me. He did what is the right thing to do, even if he took his trolling a little farther than I did.
Hey, I think, even when I first spoke to you, I was quite surprised at how positive you were about everything. You don't seem to have any kind of resentment towards anyone, and I think seriously, dude, you're handling this better than anyone could ever imagine, and I think you're, like a big inspiration to someone that's in your situation.
Thank you, man. Yeah, I can't lie to you. The first probably 1.5 to 2 years of my incarceration was eating me alive. I was getting in trouble when I got to prison, man. I failed a drug test because I smoked some marijuana. I was getting in fist fights left and right, and I was feeling sorry for myself because I said, I'm innocent, man, I should never be here. And prison is just, I can't even tell you, man, it's an entirely different world. There's its own culture, its own language. I mean, every single aspect of it is completely different than the regular world. And I felt very, very jaded about it and very cynical about it for a very long time, when finally, I've just come to the conclusion that it was my life path, and in a lot of ways I wouldn't have it any other way. This is the only thing I think that could have shaken me out of my drug and alcohol dependence. I read 1,000 books. I read well over 1,000 books. I played guitar and piano for 7 hours a day for 4 years. I began to meditate, man. I really got my mind right. There's actually a quote by Malcolm X that I took a lot of inspiration from that said, turn your cell into your school and your monastery. So I just took it as an opportunity to really, think about my existence and my life and where I wanted to go from there. And really educated myself, reading lots and lots of books, and just tried to use the time constructively, man. And I feel like I'm prepared now,
I don't know about you, but if I was wrongfully convicted for 6 years, I'd want revenge. I'd be pissed. So I'm going to link the interview down below in the description. And oddly enough, this guy also has a YouTube channel, so I'll link that as well. Send him a nice message, subscribe, just take 5 minutes out of your day to pay respect to a guy who lost 6 years of his life making a fucking edgy joke. When I was suicidal, I didn't ask for all the treatment and stuff that happened afterwards. I lost about a year of my life when I was only 16 years old, spending it in an environment filled with people struggling with homicidal tendencies and anger issues. And before that, I spent a few months recovering in psychiatric care. I was already reformed by then. I was literally there against my will, and my parents kept pushing all of this shit on me. And when I finally got out, I didn't get to return home. And everything was so different. There was this meme even going around in my school that I went off to join ISIS or got arrested and all sorts of weird shit. And some people, I think, were actually stupid enough to believe it. To believe a meme as fact. Just like what happened to fucking Joss. Take how lost and alone and different I felt and multiply that by 6. That's how awful it must have been for him. Law enforcement, the legal system, they fucked up here. And I hope this never happens again. I don't know what they thought they were going to accomplish. Like what? Were they trying to make an example out of the RuneScape community? I mean, do you feel like the next Batman for getting a RuneScape player off the streets? Seriously. You're gonna put this guy on the same level as a sex offender? Not even some of them spend 6 years in jail. A waste of time. A waste of money. Courts cost a lot of money. They take forever. Trials take forever. They take up resources. They could have used that cell for an actual criminal out there hurting people. Anyway, I'm gonna wrap this video up here. This whole situation just pisses me off. Like I said, I'm leaving links in the description. Go send this guy a nice message on his channel and give him your best regards.